Ta-da-da-da. Good morning. Good morning. So, talking points 2 of 3. We talked about the Lieutenant Governor's response to drugs and rehab centers. And I addressed that um, briefly, I guess, just discussing the talking points and what that is interpreted, that I interpreted. So today, with this talking point 2 of 3, this is about Pula, candidate Pula's response. I want you to hear real quick.
If we don't stop, improve our air and our ports in stopping drugs coming in, we're not going to fix this problem. I also hear that there are aliyahs, boats that goes around in midnight hours, deliver drugs in other areas. So what can we do? This is the first thing I will do. We were going to look for funding to have a rehabilitation center to help people who are already in drugs. Secondly, I went and visited the jail. People come in and out. I was very surprised when people go out in jail and we don't let the public know that some of these dangerous people who are druggies are out in the business. It's not safe. It's not safe for our community. Therefore, Pulu and I, not only building a rehab center to help our children, these are our children, our people, but we're going to work in a comprehensive manner with all the villages, all the churches to take care and make sure that this drug problem will be done away in 2 or so years.
All right. So let's unpack that. Just talk about ports of entry. Talk about tightening ports of entry with the importation, and it's vital to address that and pay attention to that because it just seems like it's just coming in regardless. There's no matter what the busts have been with the last fiscal year or the last 4 years, it is very evident to the general public that who are experiencing it in their daily lives, wherever they go, to the store, to church, to village functions, anywhere, just going from here to town, you will see these sick people. I mean, there are people, there are families, but and it's very evident to us. So, candidate Pula was talking about tightening the restrictions and uh, addressing the airports and the ports of entry, by sea, by air, and also that he's been hearing, which from people, not something that's written in a report, because there are no reports. But when you talk about patrol, around the island, then you talk about marine patrol, then you talk about homeland, and then you talk about DPS. Well, when you talk about aliyahs, which are boats, when you talk about aliyahs going from island to island to dropping off drugs, which the people that do that have access to it. They got a lot of money. They could pay off a boat to do, or even probably have boats of their own. I don't know. I haven't looked at the boat register. But that is an issue for Marine Patrol, I believe. Issue for Homeland. Because we live in an island nation. We have Tuila, we have the three in Manua, we have Aunu'u, and then we have close to us the island of Upolu and Sau'Ai. Well, it doesn't really take a scientist or to figure it out that it is very accessible. For example, if you are on an aliyah from Tutuila to Manua, it takes about 5 hours. That's a straight trip. That's going through waters that is not patrolled. Marine Patrol, I believe, has 2 boats. They're supposed to be for patrol. And I think it has 4 jet skis. And also with DPS, I'm not really sure. Maybe DPS has a boat, but Homeland has a boat too. So you've got all these boats, and it's sitting there in the Homeland Yard here in Sau'Ai. I've never seen that be taken out. The only time I've seen these boats out in the water is out in the water during Flag Day or uh, special events like the fireworks on July 4th. They would be out there patrolling. And I was never seen, I live on the coast, on the southern coast, and the village of Waitongi, and I hardly see patrol by Marine Patrol or any other ESG and government entity that has these boats. So that's then Kanepulu was talking about what can we do. Well, he stated that funding, the money has a lot to do with it. Getting money to make these things work is the main thing. Without that money, we can't have better training. Without that money, we can't have better equipment. Without that money, you're unable to make things work. Because in this day and age, it's all about the money. So, and then talk about the jail. The jail here at the Funa Correctional Facility is a country club. That's basically it. Prisoners walk in and out freely roaming, depends on if they're on the good graces of the warden. And this issue where most recently where someone from the jail, an employee, brought 2 prisoners out to go paint his house. And he was authorized by the warden. Well, the person that was wearing the guard uniform, that I was told, that is not a sworn officer. That is in what we know in California or in the States, as a trustee, that actually person is a prisoner that was let out to take other prisoners to paint his house on government time using prisoners. So that is very dangerous. And when these prisoners walk out and they're during the next count that they're found out, they have flew the coop. We don't find out about it. There is no island-wide alert that the prisoners are out, the prisoners are out. But that's the problem. There's no accountability. There's no transparency. And whether it's at the level of lower management or mid-management, as they call, but it has to be endorsed from the top. If it's not endorsed from the top, then what is the top doing about it? Well, the warden still has his job, and the prisoners are still eating. Rehab center. Mr. Pula talked about building a rehab center and staffing it for the people who are ready to come out of this drug addiction and find new ways of fighting the addiction and kicking it and become a model citizens of our good island nation of American Samoa. So that's a lot to say in itself. My personal thoughts is the candidate Pula is on the right track. What this epidemic needs is more funding. Throwing money at it is not a good idea when you don't have the capacity to utilize it right. as you can see, in the last 4 years, COVID money has come in hundreds of millions. And now we are in a situation where now we've somewhat fixed the COVID epidemic. Not fixed, but we dealt with it. But we have a huge drug epidemic. It is turning families on each other. It is these some of our people, our relatives, our friends, friends of friends, village people. They're walking around lost, and they're just doing that walk to get the next fix. So this drug issue is a really a big concern, especially for this election cycle. Um, there's nothing personal, that I don't have a personal stake in all this. I'm just informing you what these mean and my interpretation of that. So consider that this candidate Pula, with Pula and Pulu camp, has a step in the right direction. The only thing that I would hope that they would, I'm sure they are and have considered or plan to have these things put into effect, is the personnel. The personnel that's currently in these agencies, DPS, Homeland, and Marine Patrol, all these vital components, that there should be collaboration. There should be collaboration. Each agency is running on their own interpretation of the laws that they try to enforce. But there's been a lot of difficulties in getting them to work together on immigration cases, which now are related to the drug cases, which are related to domestic violence cases. So that is what I call collaboration. So when they do, whoever leaders that you choose, make sure that you mine their website. This whole thing that the Lieutenant Governor that I addressed in part 1 of 3, I can't find it on their website. The stats for arrest that he's talking about, the stats about the drug seizures, the so-called 200 pounds, I can't find that. It's not existent. So what are you talking about, Mr. Lieutenant Governor? I would like to know. A lot of people would like to know. But candidate Pula and Pulu are on the right track. And it's up to you, the voter. You want another 4 years of trying to find a way, trying to find what works? Or do you want the next 4 years to have actual solutions and things that are to put in place? So, yeah, just to note, I've reached out to all 3 camps. And because the election cycle is tight, only one candidate responded that is because it is very tight schedule and they will try to find some time. The other 2 still have no response. It's crickets. Okay, so join us soon. I will get part 3 of 3 sometime this morning, because I understand today at 12:30 p.m. there's another gubernatorial forum at the American Samoa Community College. All right, for now, adios.